Currently in Japan, a new pandemic is spreading to many areas. As of June 9, the number of infections caused by Streptococcus A bacteria has exceeded 1,000, setting a new record for cases. This bacteria causes symptoms such as high fever, sore throat, and tonsillitis. When severe, it can spread to the skin, causing abscesses and cellulitis. It can even lead to shock and death. With a related mortality rate of over 30%, many people feel pain, especially since the beginning of 2024. The start rate of the epidemic in Japan has been 3 times faster than in previous years. As summer approaches, besides this pandemic, other diseases like tick-borne illnesses and hand-foot-mouth disease are also spreading rapidly, raising concerns not only among Japanese citizens but also among tourists, making them hesitate whether to continue traveling to Japan during this time. In fact, Streptococcus A bacteria is not a new phenomenon. It has been known to medicine for decades and exists in many places around the world. Therefore, people with weak immune systems need to be careful. But for those in good health, maintaining hygiene is sufficient. However, Japan seems unable to avoid disaster. Recently, British rocket Wright Hamilton Parker saw through his celestial eye a snowy black cloud covering Japan's sky. This cloud foretells a major event, affecting not only Japan but also impacting the entire world. Parker is the one who accurately predicted the earthquake and tsunami on March 11, 2011, in Japan. Therefore, this time, he believes the upcoming disaster is related to the black cloud he saw. What will Japan face this time, and how will the world change? These mysterious omens remain unanswered questions. But one thing is certain, the shadow of disaster is approaching. What do you think about these predictions? If you still think it's just a normal cloud, pause video to understand what. The program of the shadow. Before exploring the black cloud phenomenon that worries Parker, let's recall some strange phenomena witnessed in the past. If you lived in September 1859, you would witness a scene unforgettable for a lifetime. Skies worldwide were illuminated by a strange kind of light. In some places, the sky emitted a red glow like a massive fire. In other places, you could see vast, bright lunar bands gently dancing in the air. And most notably, for an entire week straight, this light didn't distinguish between day or night, always shining across the sky. Even at midnight, people could read newspapers without lamps thanks to this mysterious light. This caused many people and animals to confuse day and night. Reportedly, a group of stonecutters in South Carolina, USA, woke up and worked for half a day before realizing it was only midnight. In Virginia, a train ticket clerk was disturbed by the singing of a flock of birds because they too had their day-night cycles disrupted by this light. Normally, they only are active during the day, but now they were singing loudly at 1 a.m. Too angry, the clerk pulled out a gun and shot 3 birds to be able to return to his sleep. Previously, it was thought that this strange phenomenon was only recorded in Europe and America. But later, similar records were found in China. In a local history book of Hebei province, a similar phenomenon was also mentioned. Red air rose from the northwest, extending towards the northeast. By morning it disappeared, and the sky suddenly appeared with red clouds. So, worldwide, everyone witnessed similar strange phenomena. They didn't know what this mysterious light in the sky was. They gathered, looked up at the sky, fearful and praying. They hoped this wasn't a sign of the apocalypse as in the scriptures. But now, we know that mysterious light wasn't mystical at all. It was actually just the aurora. The question is, auroras only appear at the North and South poles. Why in 1859 did auroras appear everywhere in the world? 1. Not only were the people frightened and surprised by this strange aurora display. 2. Telegraph operators in Europe and America also encountered unexpected and inexplicable. 3. In many places, telegraph operators reported that when they touched their keyboard. 4. They received unexplained electric shocks and burned. 5. Moreover, their machines spontaneously emitted sparks and even caused wires to melt. 6. Stranger still, even when the power was disconnected, the telegraph continued to send signals. 7. All of this made people at that time truly believe that 8. This was the sign of the judgment day in the Bible. 9. Some humans stopped working and continuously prayed, repenting for their sins. 10. However, the actual situation at that time was not as severe as they imagined. 11. A few days later, everything returned to normal. 12. But times were different now. 13. Although it did not cause serious consequences at the time, some predict. 14. If a similar event occurred in the modern world, the situation could be completely different. 15. It has the potential to cause serious disaster. 16. Possibly setting human civilization back. 17. That's what Parker witnessed and was extremely 18. Perhaps the way Parker predicted events is the key to decoding outcome. 19. However, on June 12, Parker shared a new prediction. 20. The difference this time was that he seemed to be fulfilling the Nani prophecy for himself. 21. Parker said he saw a black cloud appearing in the sky over Japan. 22. But this time, he felt this cloud could be explained from a physical perspective. 23. Therefore, he believed a major event was about 24. Possibly a natural disaster that created that. 25. Initially, Parker sensed the event might happen in the east. 26. Even thinking at times. 27. But now, he was more certain that the location was Japan. 28. Because this is an area with strong geological activity, and near the 29. This area is where the Philippine plate collide. 30. Creating an unstable region that frequently causes tsunamis and make 31. Affecting not only Japan but also the surrounding areas. 32. Parker wondered if the black cloud he saw was a gas cloud. 33. Originating from the movement of geological plate. 34. He had accurately predicted the earthquake and tsunami in Japan on March 11, 2011. 35. Which led to the Fukushima nuclear disaster. 36. Therefore, he believed his cloud might signal a similar disaster. 37. In fact, the 16th century French prophet Nostradamus also seemed to have predicted Japan's future. 38. Although Nostradamus' poetry is often unclear and easily missed. 39. Many still believe he predicted some events in Japan. 40. Such as World War II, conflicts, and even the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. 41. In the 83rd poem of the 9th century, Nostradamus wrote that when the sun enters Taurus on the 20th. 42. A terrible earthquake will occur, destroying large structures, darkening the sky. 43. And people will call upon the gods in panic. 44. Many consider this a sign of earthquakes and natural disasters. 45. He further wrote that fire will erupt from the center of the earth. 46. Which many associate with volcanic and 47. Although no specific region is mentioned, Japan is clearly a country frequently hit by earthquakes. 48. And Mount Fuji is an active volcano. 49. Therefore, many believe this poem could be referring to Japan. 50. Compared to Nostradamus, the predictions of the 19th and 20th century prophet Edgar Cayce were more straightforward and clear. Cayce once predicted 2 world wars, India's independence, the 1929 economic crisis, and he predicted the establishment of Israel 15 years in advance. He also predicted the chaos caused by racial issues in America, and that 2 American presidents would die in office, specifically Roosevelt and Kennedy. Cayce's accuracy can be said to be very high. Cayce once predicted that changes in Earth's magnetic field and natural disasters would cause major changes, even global catastrophes. He saw the eruptions of Mount Etna in Italy and Mount Pelée in Martinique would trigger a chain of events leading to greater upheavals. Africa would be divided into 3 parts when the Rift Valley and Red Sea expand, creating a vast new river, and Cairo might be submerged underwater. As for Asia, he predicted that India, China, Japan, South Korea, and the Philippines would face catastrophic fates. The Pacific Ocean would advance inland, submerging entire territories from the Philippines to Japan. Even parts of Europe would sink to the bottom of the sea. Regarding Japan's future, Cayce used very straightforward language, that most of Japan would sink into the sea. Does this imply geographical changes caused by magnetic field and the movement of tectonic plates? Although Cayce made a direct prediction, his students believed that Japan's sinking to the bottom of the sea might only be symbolic. They thought because currently Japanese life depends too much on money, sinking into the sea might represent a major economic crisis in Japan. They've been following the Shadow_Archives channel long enough. In recent videos, we've also mentioned various prophecies about Japan. Strangely, all these predictions indicate that Japan will face a major disaster in the near future, such as the eruption of Mount Fuji, earthquakes, and tsunami. The timing of these disasters seems to concentrate around July 2025. This resembles the prophetic dream of Japanese manga artist Ryo Tatsuki, who saw a terrible disaster occurring in July 2025. In her vision, the Pacific Ocean waters south of the Japanese archipelago were rising. Bubbles resembling boiling water appeared on the sea surface. The seabed between Japan and the Philippines cracked open, causing ocean waves to spread across Pacific nations, tsunamis approaching, and land masses being rearranged, connecting Hong Kong to Taiwan and the Philippines into one thing. That scene was truly horrifying. However, Parker believes that the black cloud he saw over Japan's sky signals a volcanic disaster, due to the shifting of major tectonic plates on both sides of it, creating a massive shaking and a gas cloud. Regarding the timing, he couldn't see clearly, but according to predictions from Nadi, this event could occur from now until the end of January 2025. Through this, he hopes this warning will help people avoid the disaster. Parker says this upcoming event is so large it won't just affect Japan, but will spread to Hawaii, the US West Coast, and even Mexico. However, he believes that although this is a major disaster, to destroy all of humanity and Japan won. If Parker's predictions are accurate, then the disasters he believes will occur at two time points, or from now until the end of January 2025 and in July 2025. Where is Japan's future heading? We all know Japan possesses many beautiful forests, but Parker saw images of countless insects, such as moths and caterpillars, attacking vast forests. However, he wasn't sure if this had any special meaning. Additionally, Parker saw another event, not closely related to the previously mentioned events. It might just be a minor eruption of Mount Fuji, rather than a major or comprehensive eruption. This completely matches Ryo Tatsuki's prophecy when she saw Mount Fuji erupt. In it, she managed to escape in time and believe that Mount Fuji's eruption was only symbolic, not causing serious damage. Parker also said that around the same time, an ancient temple in Japan's mountainous region collapsed. This was seen as an omen of decline. Some Japanese newspapers even reported on this event. Parker particularly emphasized the period before Christmas. He said that important events would occur in Japan during that period, although he didn't know exactly what they were. He mentioned electrical cables falling to the ground and power poles collapsing, indicating that Japan might face serious power outages. Additionally, in an earlier prediction, Parker said that conflict could break out between China and Taiwan around November, and Taiwan would withstand these attacks. However, this time he revealed that there would be continuous island occupation events, and Japan would be no exception. Russia and China have long had cooperative relations, and Parker believed that Russia would repay China by intervening and occupying some Japanese islands, while China would attempt to do the same with Taiwan to divert public attention. During this period, North Korea might launch missiles, making the situation more chaotic. Parker emphasized that war wouldn't happen immediately, but would go through a gradual escalation process. 2024 would be the beginning of chaos, and when entering 2025, we would witness even more events occurring. Japan, although always maintaining a conservative defense stance, Parker observed that due to pressure from the Russia-China alliance, plus tensions in the Taiwan Strait, Japan would build a new naval force with many warships and nuclear missile-equipped submarines. He also believed Australia could be drawn into these events, and cooperation between countries was likely. Parker also predicted Japanese society would undergo many changes, starting from the economy. Although Japan also faces inflation pressure like many other countries, Parker sensed Japan would adopt a revolutionary method to deal with these pressures. As economy would be comprehensively restructured, and this would help Japan to achieve strong growth in 2025. Part of the reason for this development is the good relations between Japan, the US, and Taiwan. But simultaneously, Parker also saw breakthroughs in technological innovation contributing to this revolutionary method likely relates to Japan's aging population. As we all know, Japan has the world's highest elderly population ratio, with elderly people comprising 1/4. Having elderly people return to work alongside the younger generation is very difficult. However, Parker saw that these elderly people would start working mainly through AI artificial intelligence. While many large US companies are vigorously developing AI, Japan, once called the Kingdom of Robots, seems to remain silent. However, Parker found that Japan is actually researching some technologies related to brain enhancement, and they are very likely to achieve breakthroughs in treating dementia in the elderly. Moreover, this technology could be used to enhance the working capabilities of older adults, creating a major advancement for Japan. In addition, Japan will also develop a new salary system. Parker saw a mechanism similar to citizens receiving reward points, akin to cryptocurrency. This system can even attract other countries to follow suit, as it effectively improves business operations. However, Japan will also face real estate issues. Citizens will take to the streets to protest against high housing prices and rents. In response, the Japanese government will introduce a series of policies and benefits, such as tax reductions to encourage people to move to rural areas. Even if they are far from the city, they can still work from home. Notably, Parker predicts that by the end of 2025, Japan might have its first female leader. This will further emphasize the role of women in Japanese society. The Japanese queen will become a new national symbol. Can you guess who this powerful woman is? Culturally, we all know that Japanese art, culture, and anime have spread worldwide over the past decades. However, Parker sees a new cultural revolution emerging in Japan. This time it involves the music industry. He saw a female singer in a white dress standing on a high stage, and this music style becomes globally popular. Conversely, most of Japan will undergo a major transformation. Parker recently noticed the concept called forest bathing, a term that has been popular in Japan since the 1980s. Forest bathing is a way for people to slow down their pace of life, enter the forest, and connect with nature to heal their spirit. Going deep into the forest, awakening their senses in nature, using silence to feel and heal the soul. Parker feels that Japan has become too materialistic over the years. Although many people in Japan still believe in Buddhism and Christianity, now 80% of them no longer actively participate in religious activities as before. The rise of the forest bathing concept is not directly related to religion. It is simply a way for people to return to nature. However, Parker believes that in the future, Japan will see more similar activities, as groups of people flock to forests seeking deeper spiritual connections. However, Parker also sees another phenomenon. He predicts that Japanese society will see the emergence of a terrorist organization related to some extreme religions. Japan's transportation system can become a target for attacks by this organization. He saw followers with shaved heads and tattoos on their heads. Nevertheless, Parker believes this is just a minor phenomenon, not significantly affecting Japan, which will continue to make spiritual progress. Despite seeing ominous dark clouds signaling many impending upheavals in Japan, Parker still believes the country will weather this storm and adapt to major future changes on Earth. I also agree that returning to what you fear the most might bring peace and luck. There is a saying that blessings come from self-cultivation, meaning blessings do not come from outside but are created by our own moral cultivation. When we live in harmony with natural laws, all good things will come to us naturally. What about you? What do you think about this? Don't forget to share more with us in the comments section below. Don't forget to hit like, share, and turn on the notification bell so you don't. For now, goodbye and see you again.